Gulls, Human-Wildlife Conflicts, and Overview of the Species, from Gulls by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, May 2018. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Human-Wildlife Conflicts. Abundant gull populations in North America have led to a variety of conflicts with people. Gulls cause damage at aquaculture facilities and other properties, and often collide with aircraft. Their use of structures on and near water results in excessive amounts of bird droppings on boats and docks. Their presence near outdoor dining establishments, swimming beaches, and recreational sites can lead to negative interactions with people. Large amounts of gull fecal material pollutes water and beaches, resulting in drinking water contamination and swim bans. A combination of dispersal techniques, exclusion, and limited lethal control may reduce damage to an acceptable level. Aquaculture. Gulls feeding at fish hatcheries, mariculture beds, and bait fish production sites may result in significant losses for aquaculture producers. They may also impact salmonid fry, especially at passage facilities associated with dams in the Pacific Northwest. Gulls loafing at seafood processing facilities may create a nuisance for employees and contaminate seafood products with fecal material at outdoor staging areas while items are awaiting processing. Structures. Gulls nesting on rooftops often indirectly damage the roof, as well as the building, due to accumulations of nesting material in rooftop drains that prevent the draining of water from the roof. The resulting backup of rainwater may lead to structural damage to the roof, including leakage, water damage, and rot, mold, and excessive water weight on roof support structures. Human health and safety. Gull use of structures on and near water results in excessive amounts of bird droppings on boats and docks in marinas, and the presence of gulls near outdoor dining establishments, swimming beaches, and recreational sites creates negative interactions with people. Research has documented that gulls can be a source of fecal contamination, such as Escherichia coli and Salmonella isolates, in water and beaches, resulting in contamination of drinking water and swim bans. In addition, buildup of droppings, nesting materials, and feathers on rooftops near ventilation intakes can result in unwanted odors and the intake of irritants affecting the respiratory health of workers and creating an unsanitary work environment. Large numbers of gulls flocking around landfills is a distraction and safety risk to heavy equipment operators and truck drivers. Gulls are frequently involved in collisions with aircraft, resulting in dangerous conditions for people, both in the aircraft and on the ground. From 1990 to 2015, gulls were involved in at least 10,586 bird strikes, with 2,188 of those strikes involving multiple birds. 15 of those strikes resulted in injuries to 22 people. Their large size, looping flight, flocking behavior, and propensity to feed and loaf on grasslands and paved surfaces at coastal airports make them a significant strike threat. During the nesting season, especially after chicks hatch, gulls may dive and strike people on the head if they come too close to nests. This behavior is problematic near nesting colonies where people may be working on rooftops, performing building maintenance or security. Natural resources. Gulls may be detrimental to some shorebird and waterbird species of concern, because they prey on eggs and chicks. For example, predation by laughing, herring, and great black-backed gulls contributes to declines or lower productivity of some species along the Atlantic coast. Gulls are a primary predator of nests and chicks of terns, skimmers, and other colonial nesting birds from the Chesapeake Bay to Maine. Nuisance. Gulls habituate to the presence of people and may become a nuisance for sunbathers or diners at outdoor establishments when food is accessible. Species overview. Identification. The term gull refers to bird species that belong to the family Laridae. Gulls nest colonially, sometimes with other colonial nesting species interspersed within the breeding colony. Gulls often are associated with oceans, seas, and large freshwater water bodies. 24 different species of gulls can be found across North America. The 8 gull species most often associated with human-wildlife conflicts in the United States include the following: herring gull, Larus argentatus; laughing gull, Leucophaeus atricilla; ring-billed gull, Larus delawarensis; great black-backed gull, Larus marinus; California gull, Larus californicus; Franklin's gull, Leucophaeus pipixcon; Bonaparte's gull, Choricocephalus philadelphia; glaucous-winged gull, Larus glaucans. Physical description. Male and female gulls of the same species are similar in appearance. Gulls are distinguished by their webbed feet, and adults generally have white body plumage, with the amount of black and brown plumage on the wings and back varying among species and age classes. Juvenile birds have varying amounts of black or brown mottled body plumage interspersed with varying amounts of white feathers. Gulls range in size from the diminutive Bonaparte's gull, 11 inches long, 38-inch wingspan, and about half a pound, to the largest species, the great black-backed gull, 24 inches long, 65-inch wingspan, and up to 4 pounds. Range. Gulls are found throughout North America, usually near water bodies, such as oceans, estuaries, and freshwater lakes. The herring gull is a year-round resident on the Great Lakes and east coast of North America, from Newfoundland to North Carolina. Winter distribution is associated with coastal areas and large water bodies along the Atlantic, Pacific, and Gulf coasts, the Caribbean islands, and Mississippi River Valley. The laughing gull breeding range stretches from Maine to Texas along the coast. Laughing gulls generally winter along the southern Atlantic coast from North Carolina to the Gulf Coast and eastern and western Central American coasts. The ring-billed gull's breeding range is primarily Lake Champlain in Vermont and the St. Lawrence River drainage of New York, Quebec, and Ontario, the Great Lakes region, and westward into the northern Rockies and western Canadian provinces. Its wintering range is the Atlantic and Pacific coasts, lower Mississippi River Valley, and southern Great Plains. The great black-backed gull, common in the northeastern United States, breeds locally along the Atlantic coast from Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, north to Labrador and Baffin Island, and locally around the Great Lakes. In winter, this species may be found throughout its breeding range and south to South Carolina. In addition, it winters in increasing numbers along the Gulf of Mexico. The California gull is found throughout the interior western region of North America, from California in the south to Northwest Territories in the north. The Franklin gull's breeding range is primarily within portions of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and parts of North Dakota. There are smaller breeding colonies scattered in the northern Rockies. The primary winter range is along the Pacific coast of Chile and Peru. Bonaparte's gull winters in large flocks in coastal areas along the Atlantic, Gulf, and Pacific coasts and eastern Great Lakes, but breeds around ponds, bogs, bays, and fjords in the taiga and boreal forests of Alaska and Yukon, Northwest Territories, British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. The glaucous winged gull is an abundant resident along the northwestern coast of North America, where it breeds along coastal islands and cliffs from the Bering Sea and Aleutian Islands, Alaska, south to Oregon. It casually nests in fresh water in British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. Voice and sounds. Gulls have a wide variety of calls that vary based on the age of the bird and situation in which a call is made. Calls are given for courtship, breeding, alarm, feeding, and in some cases for no apparent associated behavior. Reproduction. Most gulls are gregarious nesters on sand and gravel-covered shorelines, islands, and flat rooftops. They require only a small territory, and colonies often contain thousands of nesting pairs. Bonapartes and great black-backed gulls are the exception. They are solitary breeders, or breed in small colonies away from human settlements. Sexually mature gulls generally return and nest in the region where they learned to fly. Gull nests vary by species. In general, they are built of grasses and other vegetation, which may include sticks. Nests are found on the ground or on rooftops. Gulls produce 3 to 5 eggs per nest. Most species of gulls reach breeding age in 2 to 3 years, but some do not breed until they are 4 to 5 years old. Like other migratory birds, gulls generally breed in the northern parts of their range and winter in the southern portions of North America. However, species such as ring-billed gulls do move hundreds of miles eastward and westward within just a few days during the summer. Most gull species nest in large colonies that include hundreds or thousands of nests. Most large colony nesting sites are on islands, but some western gull species will nest in large colonies adjacent to remote freshwater lakes. Depending on gull species, nest sites tend to be sparsely vegetated or have no vegetation. Mortality. Gulls are generally long-lived birds that may survive for 10 to 30 years. Annual survival rates range from 70 to 94%, with juvenile birds having lower survival than adults. Population status. Between 1966 and 2012, some gull populations, such as herring and Franklin's gull in the United States, appeared to decline, while others, such as ring-billed and California gull, remained stable. General species status is of low conservation concern for herring, ring-billed, laughing, and great black-backed gulls. Many gull species are considered overabundant or common. Typical high gull densities are recorded in localized areas such as urban rooftop nesting colonies and landfills. Habitat. Gulls may be found in any water body in North America. In addition, gulls loaf and forage in open spaces such as plowed or grassy fields and parking lots. Behavior. Gulls often spend nights in open water or secluded areas such as islands or rooftops that are not prone to predation. They fly inland to feed and loaf during the day. Gulls are active all day, with daily activity peaking at dawn and dusk. Gulls will fly at night, especially around roosting areas on large water bodies. Gulls are migratory birds, with some species migrating long distances between nesting and wintering areas. Although most gulls migrate on a north-south gradient between nesting and wintering areas, ring-billed gulls migrate to the Great Lakes region for nesting and eastward to the mid-Atlantic coast for the winter. Gull nesting and feeding activities generally are associated with wetland habitats. These habitats are important stopping points during migration. Food habits. Gulls are adaptable, opportunistic, omnivorous feeders that readily switch food types based on availability and accessibility. Gulls forage on land and on water, feeding on aquatic animals, terrestrial invertebrates, small vertebrates, carrion, plant remains, refuse, and human food. Gulls forage on eggs and young of other nesting water birds. For instance, herring and great black-backed gulls eat shorebird chicks and waterfowl ducklings. Bonaparte and other western gull species eat young salmon, contributing to smaller runs of smolts. Herring gulls have developed a feeding strategy of dropping bivalves onto hard surfaces to break the shell and access the soft tissues inside. Adult ring-billed gulls nesting in the Great Lakes have been known to travel an average of 15 miles to exploit human-related food sources. Smaller species such as ring-billed, laughing, and Franklin's gulls forage in the air on flying insects. Legal status. Gulls are classified as a migratory bird species and are protected by federal and, in most cases, state laws. In the United States, gulls may be taken only with a permit issued by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Occasionally, an additional permit is required from the State Wildlife Management Agency. Permits are issued only after dispersal and other non-lethal damage management methods have been employed and proven ineffective at resolving the conflicts. No federal permit is needed, however, to frighten or mechanically exclude gulls. End of Gulls, Human-Wildlife Conflicts and Overview of the Species, from Gulls by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, May 2018. Read for LibriVox by Sue Anderson.